friends for coming out tonight. I know you'll laugh even if I'm not funny, so thank you. I appreciate it. I want to actually put a spotlight for just a second on a very special couple we have with us tonight. Leon and Mary Lewandowski are actually in the running for America's favorite couple. Contest with Variety News or something, and I'm voting for you every day, and today was double points. So yeah, you got double votes today. Anyway, we're waiting to see if you guys are going to the next level. You made it! You made it to the next level! So yeah, is this the finals? Or there's another level? There are 10?
We're top 10.
Top 10. Okay, let's hear it for the Lewandowskis.
Yeah!
Congratulations. They've been married 33 years. Wow. We're coming up right behind you. We're 31 in September. Yay. Wow. I know. I would like to tell you, my dear friend Carol twisted my arm for over a year to get me in this show. And I have known Carol now for almost 20 years. We had an acting class back in 2006, 2007 with Peter Frisch. He still teaches here in town. And we became friends because we admired each other's work in the class, but we also admired each other's wardrobes, and we still do. We like to look nice when we go out. And I appreciate the fact that she is willing to get dressed up to go out, even to go karaoke, okay? And that's what we do. We do go out to dinner and do fun stuff too, but we love to go karaoke. That's when we really bonded as friends. We actually bonded as friends. Okay, Carol, now you have to get out of my video. Okay, thank you. So we bonded over karaoke. And the first place we went was Creekside. Now, how many of you have been to Creekside? In 2006, 2007, we started going. It was still a dive bar. And when we got there, I thought, okay, this is interesting. The area where you were to sing had a pole. And it wasn't clear whether we were supposed to sing or pole dance or do both. Now, I chose to just sing. I did use the pole as a prop, just kind of lean on it and do something with the pole. But no, Carol took over the pole. And Carol is very good at making a big splash when she sings. I like to sing what I like to sing. I don't really care what people think of my songs. I just like to sing what I like to sing. Carol needs the entire crowd to bring the house down. But she often gets so excited that she starts to undress. Now, she's never been naked, don't get me wrong. But if she has a jacket over her beautiful sweater or her skirt or whatever, she takes it off and she starts swinging it around. And then she throws it into the crowd. And for years, almost 20 years now, I have been gathering her clothing from all over the bar. And sometimes she'll even kick off her shoes. And she's never hit anyone with a shoe, and that's good. But she'll throw her shoes. And so I have to go round up the shoes and make sure all of her stuff is over near my stuff before she goes home. Now Bernie's been actually joining us in karaoke in the last couple of months, and so now he can go round up all of her things when she throws them. I don't have to do it anymore, so that's good. Bernie, I'm so glad you're coming out to karaoke.
Just like at home.
Just like at home, I can imagine. Now, I do have to say, I enjoy karaoke. I really do. I have fun singing the things I want to sing. And I can't do that kind of repertoire. I'm a trained opera singer. It's sort of like a trained seal, only I sound better. And I have been singing on stages all around the Central Coast for 3 decades. And I sang opera almost exclusively for nearly 20 years. Now, that just means that it's really hard for me to go karaoke, because there I am. I'm classically trained. I know how to sing. I've spent years and lots of money learning how to sing. And that is not true of most of the people in karaoke. And that's okay. I have low expectations. When I go, I have very low expectations. I am not expecting Pavarotti to get up and sing, or Maria Callas. I know that the pickings are slim. But I have a hard time holding myself back from wanting to fix their vocal problems. Because I know what's wrong. I'm analyzing it as they're singing. I'm like, we need to get in touch with our diaphragm. We need to support that tone. You need to get the gum out of your mouth. of things that are wrong with what they're doing. And then there are people who just pick the wrong songs. I like to pick things that are really in my range, things that show off my voice well. That's not true of everyone either. They pick things that they cannot sing, and they should never sing. In fact, there are things that should be taken out of the karaoke repertoire forever. Any song that is longer than 5 to 5.5 minutes, banned. Just banned. You should never sing anything that long. Thank you. Yes. If you can't get it done in 5 to 5.5 minutes, forget it. And then there are songs that everybody wants to sing. Everybody sings them. There are thousands of songs to choose from, but they do the same things all the time. And I could live the rest of my life and never hear "Don't Stop Believin'." I mean, I have watched people literally almost strangle themselves to death on the high note on the word night. And then there's the song, oh, even Jolene. I'm tired of hearing Jolene, thank you very much. I think that, I wonder about people's self-esteem when they get up and sing things like "Before He Cheats" or "I Need You Now." Okay, so you're drunk, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and you're going to call someone that you used to be intimate with, and you miss them so much you're going to call them when you're drunk. That says a lot about you, and it's not good. Then there's "Before He Cheats." Okay, so he cheats on you. That's bad, definitely bad. You can get rid of the guy, and you can do it in a classy way. If you want tips on that, please see me afterwards. But you do not go out with a key and key up his truck, okay? That is, it's just, I don't know. What do you do with that? So people want to sing that stuff all the time, though. And I don't care how good you are or who you are, you should never, ever, 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 and I'm saying never, sing Bohemian Rhapsody. It should be taken out of the karaoke canon. It should never be sung by a human being by themselves. It was recorded by an iconic band on an iconic album at a time when our country was, the rock and roll was so good. And to desecrate that song, there are some things you need to leave alone. Now, I do get a little irritated with all of these things, but I still manage to have a good time because I'm with Carol. You have to have a good time when you're with Carol.
That's right.
There is one thing that I just simply will not tolerate, and that is vaping indoors. And these little 20-somethings that are barely old enough to drink, whose brains have not even finished forming yet, because they don't finish forming until you're 25. This does not bode well for their future, by the way. They want to vape indoors, and I'm that person. I'm having a good time, and my little antenna's up, and I'm going, oh, I'm having a good time, I'm singing, and then all of a sudden it starts. My throat starts to get scratchy. My ears tear up. And I'm like, oh, there's a vapor. There's a vapor. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, it's over there. And I can see it. They all come like this. Their hands are grasping their little binkies. I call them binkies. And they're sweaty little palms. And their palms are sweaty because they've been holding on to this thing all freaking day. And they think that no one's going to notice, but they're going to suck on this thing and then blow their little puff of smoke out. Well, and they think because it's flavored, it's not going to bother anyone. It's carcinogens. It's going to kill people. And since 1995, their entire lives, they were born well after 1995. 1995, the state of California banned all smoking, vaping, anything like that indoors. And that's to save the people that work there. They have absolutely no respect for other human beings, and I can't tolerate that. Now, one time I got up to sing, and I looked at the microphone, and next to the microphone was someone's hot orange binky. So I picked it up, and I said, hey, whose binky is this? Anybody? Someone's binky? There's no vaping indoors. Read the signs. Hey. No one. You could hear crickets in that place. Nobody wanted to claim that binky. Now, my favorite, and I'll finish with this story, my favorite vaping story has to do with a kid who came into James Joyce. On Wednesdays and Sundays, Victor used to be at James Joyce, and we would go there all the time. Now we go to Dargan's on Tuesdays because he's there Tuesday, Thursday, and we just love Victor. So we were at James Joyce, and a guy walks over to the bar to order a beer, and I'm standing there ordering my drink, and he starts vaping right there at the bar. And I said, excuse me, you can't do that inside. You have to take that outside. And he looks at me like, who are you to tell me what to do, right? So he kept on vaping. So I said to the bartender, hey, you know, it's actually against the law to be vaping indoors. And this is for your own protection as well as mine. I want to breathe clean air. So he told the guy, hey, you have to take that outside. So the guy skulks away. And he literally skulked away. And then later on, I'm singing with Victor, because Victor and I like to sing duets. And our signature duet is Endless Love by Lionel Richie and Diana Ross. And we're singing Endless Love, and we're about a third of the way through the song. And all of a sudden, I see this kid coming back into the room, and he's with his little entourage, and he has not one, but 2 vapes hanging from his mouth, like fangs. And he comes over, and I'm on a little bit of a stage. He's about a little more than an arm's length away from me, and he starts blowing the smoke out of both of these vaping things, the binkies. He's blowing it in my face. I was being assaulted, and I had every right to defend my lungs. So there's about 2 measure break when I'm not singing and Victor is singing, and I'm going to come back in on a, ooh, I know. And so I reach over and I just go pop, pop. And I didn't hit him, I hit the binkies. And I sent them flying onto the floor. They scattered across the floor. And his little entourage, they all went, oh my God, did you see what she just did? Oh my God! And they run over to the bartender, and they told the bartender what happened. So after it's over, I go back, I sit down with Carol. I said, Carol, did you see what just happened? She goes, no, because she was talking. She was talking. Of course she was talking. And that's okay because I love her anyway. And I told her the whole story, and I filled her in. And after I finished the story, sure enough, here comes the manager, the head bartender. He's on his way over there with this kid in tow. Now, mind you, I'm thinking, okay, this could get really interesting. But he said, the bartender said, someone has something to say to you. So the kid looks at me and he goes, I'm really sorry. I know I shouldn't have done that. Will you forgive me? Now, I know, isn't that great? I think. But I had to dig way down deep inside to pull out my inner Miss Shuey. Now, Miss Shuey was my 4th grade teacher. And God rest her soul. I went to a parochial school, and she was a retired missionary. She was about 100 years old when she taught us in 4th grade. And she had very interesting, odd ways about her. When she got startled, she would say things like, oh, my stars and garters. And we were in 4th grade. We were 9 years old. We didn't know what garters were. And so if we were cartoon characters, you'd see a little question mark above our heads when she said that. And she did things like she'd always roll up her sleeves to her elbow, and then she'd tuck a tissue in her elbow. So whenever she was walking around the classroom, looking to make sure we weren't cheating on our spelling test or writing on the board, if she had a little drippy nose, she'd pull it out and dab her nose, or she'd cough into it, whatever, and then she'd throw it away, and she'd go get another tissue, and she'd stick it back in her sleeve. So in 5th grade, one day, I was having lunch, and I was disparaging Miss Shuey. I was making fun of her. Not my finest moment, I will admit that. But I was making fun of her. And my teacher in 5th grade was Mr. Whitmire, and I was madly in love with him. He was my first male teacher, and he was tall, dark, and handsome. And I heard him say, Deborah, and he came over to my desk, and he stood there, and he said, that was not kind. You need to go apologize to Miss Shuey. And I thought, oh my God, I'm first of all mortified that this is happening in front of my classmates. And then I'm disappointing the man I love. So I really had a hard time with it. And so Mr. Whitmire said, I'll go with you. So I had to get up from my lunch, and I had to walk across the hall with him to the 4th grade classroom to see Miss Shuey. No one else was in there, thank God. But Miss Shuey was reading her Bible and eating her lunch at her desk, and there she was in her cat-eye glasses with her tissue stuck in her sleeve. And I had to walk over to her desk, and I said, Miss Shuey, I'm really sorry. I said something that wasn't kind about you. Will you forgive me? And do you know what she did? She opened her arms, and she just embraced me in the sweetest hug, and she said, of course I forgive you. And she never mentioned anything more about it. It was just, she was modeling Jesus right then and there. It was just the sweetest thing. And so I was, I got back to the classroom, and of course all my classmates were like, what happened? So I'm standing there with this 20-something in front of me, asking me to forgive him. So I reached way down inside, and I said, of course I forgive you. But I'm not as holy as Miss Shuey, because I followed it up with, don't ever let it happen again. Thank you, you've been a great honor.